What is a meta-defining operator? A meta-defining operator is an operator that is ahead of its time. An operator that outperforms the competition in every way and has the most impact on the outcome. And today we're going to cover our eyes on the hyperglyph's worst balancing ever. Starting off, Silverash. Silverash is a day 1 operator and early on has shown his dominance in DPS over long duration. He melted everything in the game and had this iconic sound of swing swing. Moreover, he has been an undoubted SSS tier operator for quite a long time. Silverash's main skill, True Silver Slash, used to do groundbreaking damage with a really wide range and a long duration. His secondary usage was his talent, Leader, which gives all allies redeployment time reduction. This talent really helps Silverash to fulfill his teledrop role, and it allowed you to lower the cooldowns on your other operators, landing Silverash in CC clears. Silverash thrived until a new foe has joined the party. Seror. Seror needs no introduction. She just Serted it here. Seror is essentially arguing why need brain if you can just kill the most threatening enemies on the map. Seror deals arts damage and her main skill Twilight gives her a whopping 5000 HP, 330% attack, range +2, target count +3, she starts losing HP over time, and all of that is an unlimited skill that costs 5 SP. The condition holds her back from staying on the map, which is still possible if you dedicate a lot of healers into it, but not recommended. Seror does a lot of damage, especially considering her talents, one of which ignores target resistance, making her damage for the toughest of resistances, and second is an 8 seconds immortality. 8 seconds immortality. 8 seconds, she's just damn invincible. You can essentially deploy her anywhere and activate her skill, no matter if she's dead or alive. Seror was so ahead of time that she's still one of the best DPS characters and is still considered overpowered, but one thing is certain, it is no longer her era. A monster whose damage is just way out of anyone's control. He does it all. He power crept most single target DPS characters while doing multi-targeting. He has a wide range that is able to cover 5 lanes at the same time. He hits aerial targets. He swings his sword. Moer is broken. Moer has power crept everybody. Whenever a new operator gets released, a comparison with Moer is inevitable. It's going to happen. He does about 4000 damage per swing, and shit, he swings fast. This dude is the best carry for any stage. He has shown his presence in every single CC ever since his release. He is used in almost every optimized hard content clear, and we have yet to see if anything comes close to this man. Now, time for honorable mentions. Some units were really good and were top 3, top 2 at the time of those metas existing. Some also used to be the best for a period of time, but we cannot really call them the meta-defining units. Like, there is some point in the game where they're releasing units and all the units after that unit start to grow in strength. That's kind of the idea. So those units are not the meta-defining units. And so with that in mind, first honorable mention is Exia. Exia was the strongest character on release as she has a huge DPS. The enemies used not to have all that much of defense, so she was the strongest at the time. Why did I include her as the first meta unit? Exia melted in use after Patriot's release, and events from there on have started to work against Exia's numbers. Our second pal is Chalter. Chalter was a very strong unit at its prime, but I would give an edge to Seror. Seror just seems to have more future prospects, and as Chalter was released at the time Seror was around, I wouldn't call her meta-defining, although she was the best physical DPS at the time. Our third honorable mention is Ling. Ling is the strongest solo unit to this day. She was always strong and at some point even used in high-risk CC, yet Ling is not equipped to play in a squad, and nowadays operators are way stronger than her summons. Moving on to our fourth honorable mention, and that is Texalter. This is a controversial one, but I am essentially arguing that stealth presence on the map is stronger than fast redeploys. Don't get me wrong, fast redeploying is a very useful ability, but that's just what I think. Texalter does a lot of damage, yet a second argument I have is that lately, numbers work better in Munor's favor. For the last 2 months, I've noticed how enemies' max HP has gone up a bit, which you can figure out by the fact that when Texalter was released, she one-shotted or almost one-shotted elite enemies with her S2 splash. Not all of them, but a big portion of, and now that is not happening at all. All that while Munor is still sweeping them. This is not to say Texalter is worse than Munor. Texalter is a part of a strong arch damage team, but in my opinion, Moer has the edge here. Our 5th honorable mention is Reed Alter, a very strong arch damage supporter, the most powerful AoE splash character in the game, and the strongest single target arch damage DPS, but not a meta-defining unit. 6 is my favorite, Chuai. Chuai is a sweeper like Moer, but she does arch damage, has smaller range and less target count. She does a lot of damage, has a very high damage ceiling when used in a team, and one thing people sometimes forget about, enemies barely move in Chuai's range, and that on top of being top 5 arch DPS. She may not be the best, and that is exactly why I'm not putting her into meta-defining units. Our 7th unit, oh my god, how many meta contestants are there? Is Yatta Alter. Yatta Alter does a lot of damage, but does about 100 damage per swing to tough enemies with high defense and rest, so that's kinda lame, not meta. 8th honorable mention is Ines. She broke an entire Vanguard class. And that concludes our meta-defining operators list. The units I named were or are extremely ahead of their time. And one thing I'm certain about is, don't worry. Hypergriff knows what they are cooking. A lot of these units were made the way so that buffing them wasn't as easy. And it will probably continue down the way. One thing is certain, enjoy the game as you do Lobster